for Clemson. That one didn't catch much of the barrel. Definitely not a double. Got enough of it, kind of like a sack bunt right in front, or drag bunt right in front of home plate. Used her wheels to get down the line.
Marion Collins, two-run double in last night's Clemson win, as they took it by the final of 7-4, coming from behind. Collins has been great in the postseason, hitting .500 since the ACC tournament. That is best on the team, but a swing and the miss.
You've got a free swinger at the plate, and with this ball down, trying to take advantage if it might sit flat. Did not advantage Salmon. Well, and Pam, I'm kind of curious why Mia Scott is challenging Collins at the plate. Not a ton of speed, no stolen bases on the year. She's known for power, so Mia Scott playing right up in her grill. Kind of a unique spot as she's tight up the line on that third base side.
And no indication of any kind of a bunt from Collins.
No, Collins in double-digit home run numbers this season. She's a combination of power and average. Definitely not a touch-and-go kind of hitter.
Coming off a spectacular regional where she was 8 for 9. Let's hit to the left side. Bennett retires Collins as Vieira gets down to second. One away.
Just a smart play by the second baseman to recognize there's no need to force a play at second and maybe not get the out. So routine play over to first, and Clemson now with a runner in scoring position.
And that brings up another true freshman in Taylor Pipkins as Reese Atwood goes out to speak with her pitcher. And again, a little bit of a shakeup in the infield. Good playing short tonight. Bennett over at second. Stewart, who had been the shortstop, is now in left field. That's the way the game ended last night defensively, and Mike White started things off that way tonight, and you were not at all surprised by that.
No, I actually penciled it into my lineup knowing that they needed to make a change at shortstop. There may have only been one error on the day yesterday, but there were some mental miscues that gave up the advantage to Clemson in certain situations. So this change, I think, is going to help out Texas be a little bit more solid defensively.
Stewart had that error at short and a couple of other plays that were a little shaky, and you get her out in left field and maybe help her confidence, take some pressure off when she's at the plate, perhaps.
Well, we saw her smiling earlier. We did not see that smile at shortstop last night.
Sent into right field. Maloney closes and then throws a dart to good at short. 2 away. So game 2 of this best-of-3 Super Regional. Mike White, going back to his days when he was in charge at Oregon, he's now lost 7 straight game 1s, but in supers, but has rebounded.
He has. His silver lining is he's 5-1 in that second game of the Super Regional, hoping to get win number 6 tonight to keep this team playing for another day.
Kylie Johnson at the plate. Clemson has won 11 straight games. Their last loss came against Boston College in mid-April. And their next game was a midweek where they beat Tennessee, who was at that time #1 in some of the polls.
Yeah, that was the first victory over a #1 ranked team ever in program history. It was a huge turning point, I think, for this Clemson squad to just build that belief in themselves. They've been having fun playing together all year, but they've had to endure some bumps along the way with young freshmen learning lessons.
Johnson down 0-2. That one floated in at 47 miles an hour. And you had mentioned sometimes that Mike White thinks her changeup is a little bit too slow.
And when a changeup is too slow, it tips the hitter off to be able to hold up, clutch, get back through that swing. You need to make sure that the speed has velocity. Look at that giddy up on that rise ball. Up, strike, swinging through. Salmon. She may not have a lot of starts on the year, but she is giving Texas a great look from the circle.
Yes, they're the higher seed, but they were the home team yesterday. Will be the home team again tomorrow if they force a game 3, but the away squad tonight. And here's the top of their lineup in Maloney, who started things off with a single. Both innings, Texas has gotten a lead runner on, and it was a hit by pitch of Mitchell that allowed it to be a 2-run home run for good.
We talked about it early, Pam. This is the second night in a row that Basinger has started, and when you face a pitcher multiple times, you get to learn their tendencies, hitting live off of them, and Texas has made adjustments quickly.
For Clemson, it has been the 1-2 punch exclusively since the ACC tournament. They've started every game with Reese Basinger, and every game she has been relieved by Brooke McCubbin. Just 2 pitchers have been used by the Tigers during that time, and they've won every game. Shortstop, the freshman Collins, races Maloney to start the 3rd.
So important to be aggressive moving forward through a ground ball from a slapper, especially to the left side. I've been impressed with the arm of Collins, throwing in a couple different arm slots. And there's Kat Osterman, iconic Longhorn, the only 3-time first-team All-American in program history.
And we are going to have her on with us up here in the booth in just a little bit. Looking forward to talking to Kat, who, like my partner here, Jenny Dalton-Hill, my broadcast partner, is involved with the AUSL, whose initial season gets underway very shortly.
We'll try to keep things above board because she's the GM for the Volts. I'm the GM for the Bandits.
Competition much?
So maybe we'll be friendly tonight, because next week, I'm out to get her.
Maybe she's not working the trade right now, huh?
No, don't say that, because she probably is.
Here's Caden Henry. He's been one of the all-time greats, not just in Texas history, but in all of softball. So looking forward to visiting with Kat. Henry reached on a fielder's choice in her first at bat. Takes a strike from Basinger. Last night, Caden went 3 for 4 with a double, 2-run single, and used her speed to score a run. 2-2 pitch. Just flares it out into right, playing shallow and then making the diving catch. Taylor Pipkins to Rob Henry.
So impressed with this freshman out in right field. Pipkins has swung such a solid bat for Clemson this year, but her defense shining in the postseason. Huge diving play out there in right.
Pipkins, again, one of those true freshmen that have made their mark. She's the MVP of the ACC tournament. Grand Slam against Virginia in the quarterfinals. And she has been red hot at the plate, and as you mentioned, Jenny, she's made some really good plays in the outfield. Here's Scott hit a home run last night, and it's so important, right? You keep Henry off. You don't want her on first base, because then it's almost a double.
No, it was a drag bunt by Mia Scott that scored Henry from first base yesterday. Texas got on the board first. Clemson able to respond later in the game, but so important to keep Henry off the base pass.
And that brings Scott up with the bases empty and 2 away. She flew out to left her first time up. Wind blowing from right to left right now. Charged by Moore, who's an excellent second baseman, has to throw on in a hurry, and that's the first 1-2-3 inning for Basinger. 2-0. This is with a 2-0 lead in this super regional game. Athletes Unlimited, the AUSL, about to get underway, and we have half of the general managers in the league in this booth right now. Jenny Dalton-Hill with the Bandits, and Kat Osterman, the one, the only, the legend, who was so terrific here. Kat, thanks for joining us, and I guess you must be looking forward to the season.
Yeah, we are. We leave next Tuesday, get up to Chicago, and everything gets started. So spring training, and then we go straight into it. But really exciting. I mean, good, exciting times for pro softball, and just feel like this is it. And it's going to be fun. All 4 teams are going to tour the country. We're going to hit 10 different cities, 10 different markets, and really get pro softball out there, because I think that's kind of where it fell through in the past, was just everyone knowing that we're there. And I don't think there's a doubt that AUSL has made their name known so far.
Well, and you've been part of pro softball for many years. This is not your first go around. You went to AU to be able to prepare for the Olympics, and then you've played at all levels. So what is it that really has been the push for the AUSL that's maybe been different in this venture rather than in pro leagues of past?
Well, I think the biggest push is the fact that all 4 teams are owned by the same entity with Athletes Unlimited. So therefore, all of our athletes are getting the same equal experience. You know, I was on a team where we were in dingy apartments, and I was also on a team where we put up in nice houses in Florida. So, I mean, I saw both ends of the spectrum, but you don't have that variance. Everybody's going to have good housing wherever we are, you know, transportation, all of it's the same, so that nobody really gets a bad experience. Everyone should be loving their life as a professional athlete and being able to be a professional athlete and not worry about the rest.
This is Brockenbrough getting things started. Mia Scott throws her out to start the 3rd inning.
Well, and I think the unique part about it, Kat, is you've been able to be involved in AUSL from the very beginning. I mean, you played as an athlete in AU, but then put on the advisory committee to be able to start the AUSL. So what has that process maybe been like, knowing that you were there at the very grassroots level?
Yeah, well, when I retired, I told John and Jonathan that I wanted to be part of AU as long as they wanted me to. And so when the advisory council came up, I said, absolutely. I think I was the second one to say yes behind Mendoza. And from there, it was like, okay, what have we liked about pro softball? What hasn't? Where have the discrepancies been that we need to try to make sure we fill? And just having those conversations. And then the fun part was obviously trying to come up with the head coaches and, like yourself, the general managers. And then, you know, the other 3 convinced me that I should put my name in the hat. And so here we are. But it was just fun to see a pro league have to be put together. And as athletes who have been part of the process in the past, have a say in how to make it better and genuinely put the athlete first.
Alex Brown up now, and exciting too because it's, you know, real teams, so you set rosters, so 4 teams that are going to be barnstorming, as you mentioned. So you were an amazing player here at Texas. Do you still get nervous when you come out and watch these? What's it like as a spectator?
Sometimes. Last year at Super Regionals, I happened to catch one of the last games, and so Tegan was in the circle, and I'm over here yelling, change up, change up. So I get intense, and her brother was sitting behind me. Tonight's been a little bit low-key, but no, I definitely get into it, and some of my former players from travel ball obviously hear my voice on occasion.
Yeah, I would imagine. Alex Brown going to go in the second. Kat, thank you very much. You know, they're averaging 7.5 runs per game. If only they averaged that when you were pitching.
Right, I think we were about 6 runs short of that one.
Yeah, I remember calling a lot of 1-0 and 2-1
Yes,
games, but you were amazing. And best of luck.
Thank you. Good to see you again. Thank you guys for having me.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'll see you
Right.
next week.
Competition?
So. Yeah.
Yes, friendly right now.
It's friendly now. She does owe me a couple, but
it's true.
It's all right.
It's true.
At least.
It's all right. We're good.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you guys.
All right, so Kat Osterman, one of the general managers for the AUSL, which is starting up, and she and Jenny Dalton-Hill in the same position with different franchises. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be so exciting, and I feel like pro softball is just positioned in the perfect spot right now to take off and give these athletes the right platform to continue to shine.
So Alex Brown with the double, so 1-out base runner for Maddie Moore, a senior who popped up against Salmon, who got the start tonight, just her 8th of the season. And boy, Kat Osterman, what a treat it was to watch her pitch. I don't know how anybody could hit her.
No, seriously. Just such a good mix of speed and movement. Everybody thought she was a rise ball pitcher. Then she developed this crazy drop ball, and then it became her bread and butter. She's just so good. And when you look at alumni for that are playing in the AUSL from these 2 teams, Bella Dayton, she's going to be on the Bandits, so we were able to grab her. And Mackenzie Clark actually going to Kat's team.
So Pie will be playing. One of the best nicknames, Mackenzie Clark, known as Pie because
she likes pie.
You love pie. It's going to be very exciting and get things started with the AUSL. ESPN's networks will be covering them. Big opportunity for Moore with her team down 2-1, and Maddie Moore skies one that goes over the American flag and ties up the game.
else would be able to hit a ball like that in the postseason? And it's already come back over the wall. The Texas Longhorn fans don't want to see a Clemson Tiger home run out there and left. But Pam, that ball was blistered.
And she got under it a little bit too. I mean, that was a moonshot.
That ball was a no-doubter. She even gave a little bat flip coming off of it. No need to hurry out of the box. She leads the team in home runs, adds to it number 17. And Mom liking the big home run, all tied up.
So a pair of two-run home runs in this game. Two-run shot by Leanne Good for Texas in the second. And the bottom of the third, Maddie Moore with one swing ties it up, and that was after the Brown double.
There's that changeup. That's the pitch that has to continue to be used against these batters, keep them off balance. While sometimes it can be a little bit too slow, you saw it coming in at the mid-40s, it does give the hitter a chance to clutch, reload, and get through the ball.
Stopped by Salmon, very calmly picks it up to throw out Noller for the second out.
But it's going to be important for Salmon to use the changeup, even though it might be a little too slow, to keep hitters off balance in the box. Umpire coming out to just make sure she was okay and that comebacker to the circle.
True freshman in the circle. And there's the senior. They have a gold bat. When you hit a home run, you get to sign it.
Yeah, she's signed it 17 times now.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot.
I think that pen's starting to run out of ink.
And you see the joy. That was one thing that Moore and the rest of the seniors got together to talk about before the season. It's like, hey, we got one more year. Let's go out. Let's have fun.
Yeah, the focus of this year was to have fun. Those seniors met and wanted an intentional, authentic experience for everyone on this squad. They said one of the hardest parts about it was that there's 22 unique personalities that needed to come together as one. But they realized that this was their legacy that they wanted to pass on, those seniors, saying that the previous alumni walked so that they could run.
And they are hoping that that journey will take them to Oklahoma City for the first time in the program's history, which is not a long one. This is just their 5th full season. 3 super regionals. Finally got their first super regional game win yesterday. That's into shallow left where it's handled by Good, but Maddie Moore with the 2-run blast ties it up.
Senior coming up big with a runner on second base. She was just trying to hit a line drive. Well, this one was no line drive. That was a no-doubter, number 17 for Maddie Moore, and it's all knotted up.
Salmon tonight, someone who only had 6 previous starts.
Yeah, she's showing real cool nerves right now, and she has the last part of the few weeks, you know. So we thought to give her a start and, you know, take us to the next step. So hopefully she's doing a really good job right now.
Well, and you've talked a lot about how the bottom of your lineup needs to produce for you. What is it that you need to do against a pitcher that you saw yesterday?
Yeah, just be patient. You know, they're very good at making you swing at their pitch, and we've just got to make sure we get our pitch and, you know, continue to press and push some runs back across the board.
All right, Coach White, thank you very much.
Thank you, Holcomb.
All right, Mike White, who came over from Oregon where he had great success and trying to take the team back to the Women's College World Series. They've been 2 of the last 3 years. Both times got to the championship series, and both times had to play arch rival Oklahoma, and we all know how that ended up. As Oklahoma's won 4 in a row. Maddie Moore out there talking at second. Hit a home run and now goes out to do her favorite thing, which is play defense.
Yeah, loved talking to her before the Super Regional started. And you're right, Pam, she talked about how she would much rather take 300 balls defensively than go hit on a tee for an hour. I don't understand that.
You can't relate?
I cannot. I loved to hit.
And so does Reese Atwood, but she is still looking for her first hit of the Super after a very energized regional. That one goes a very long way and just foul. Wow.
So I thought Maddie Moore's hit was far. No, that Atwood blast one-hopped the building out there and left, and the base of that building is 280 feet away. That ball was absolutely blistered out to left, but just fouled.
Wow, as close as you can get. And that just shows you some of the power that Reese Atwood has in that regional, where they just steamrolled over 3 teams. They hit 478 as a team with 9 home runs. Reese had 6 of them. Or 3 of them, pardon me. The team had 6 home runs in one game against Michigan.
Yeah, the most home runs in a single postseason game.
She had 727, Jen.
Yeah, that's not too shabby for postseason play.
And the 13 RBIs just for the regional. But looking for her first hit here.
Yeah, I had a good game plan against her yesterday. Did not give up a run to give up a hit to Atwood yesterday. They did intentionally walk her at one point in the game, knowing the kind of power that she has at the plate. Worked out for them. They got out of that jam.
That one also goes towards the wall, and this time she just clears it. Didn't go nearly as far, but it was effective. Atwood with the homer. Texas jumps back on top.
Big home run blast for Reese Atwood, the junior for Texas. And how do you throw a pitch that good to Reese Atwood? Home run number 21 on the year. You mentioned it didn't get out by much, Pam, but it doesn't have to. Over that 10-foot wall, Texas again on top.
Home run number 21 for Atwood. And Texas has not lost a game all year when they've hit at least 2 home runs. They have 2 tonight. Good with a 2-run blast in the 3rd. Or check that in the 2nd, and now the solo shot here in the 4th for Atwood. And that has gotten the crowd going too, Jen.
You have to remember, this is now about the 6th time that these hitters have seen, 5th time these hitters have seen Basinger. She was relieved by McCubbin in the 5th inning yesterday, but as Atwood came up to the plate, it's so much easier to hit off of a pitcher that you've seen multiple times. That's why I'm a little surprised that John Rittman went back to Basinger in the circle, but that's been the trend that they've had through the postseason.
And we will be speaking with Coach Rittman after this half inning. We will pose that question to him. And again, ever since the ACC tournament started, Coach Rittman has started every game with Basinger and relieved her with Brooke McCubbin, just using those 2 pitchers. It has worked. Jolie Mitchell at the plate now. Clemson riding an 11-game winning streak. ACC tournament champions for the first time ever. Texas bowed out early in run rule fashion to Texas A&M in their first SEC tournament.
And it was conversations with Coach White about that game against Texas A&M. He said, we just really struggled in the SEC tournament, but we're grateful that it happened when it did. It taught us lessons on how we need to show up every single day, or we're going to go home early.
Collins just nipped Mitchell for the first out.
I love how smooth Marion Collins is over there at shortstop, but there's times where she takes that additional stutter step or shuffle through her throw that allows base runners to get down the line. Sometimes it's to get a grip, but other times I need her to just hurry up that motion. The transfer happens quickly, but she's got to get her feet underneath her a little bit faster.
Katie Stewart playing left field tonight, the normal starting shortstop. Flew out to center in her first at bat. Only the third time Clemson and Texas have played a game against each other. Last night was the second one. Played it in February of 2022 when Texas won that one. And very few players remain from those rosters. Nobody for Texas played in that game. And was it just McCubbin who got in as a DP for Clemson?
Yeah, complete opposite role is what she has now.
A little bit of a pitcher now. Stewart chops it foul.
And I think last night's hiccups at shortstop actually hurt her production at the plate. In the regionals, she went 7 for 10 and had 2 home runs. She's got 28 home runs with her first 2 years here at Texas combined. Last night, 0 for 4. I think she got in her head a little bit with those miscues at short and just could not get rolling at the plate.
And after a great regional, 7 hits, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, but she's still looking for her first hit this weekend, handled by Collins for the second out.
And it's so important to be able to separate your hitting from your defense. But it felt like last night, Katie Stewart could not get away from her defense. The ball continued to find her, and she struggled to just slow the game down at times to be productive at the plate.
So it's Leanne Good who is playing shortstop tonight. Moving over from second base, and she hit a 2-run home run her first time up. They gave Texas the 2-0 lead. Clemson tied it in the last inning with a 2-run home run by Moore, and now Atwood has untied it. All the runs coming via the home run.
And both these teams very capable of hitting the long ball. Coming into tonight, Texas had 83 team home runs. Clemson had 82. Tonight, 3 combined home runs, 2 of them by Texas, 1 of them by Clemson. It's almost like they're in a home run chase.
Right up the middle, solid single for Good. She's 2 for 2.
And I think this is a situation where John Rittman is going to want Basinger to try to get herself out of this inning. But I am fairly certain that we will see a pitching change next inning, knowing that Basinger has not gone the distance in any of the games that they've played in the postseason.
And it's not McCubbin, but Macy Cintron who is up and throwing, starting DP. And as you mentioned, Jen, has not seen a lot of time in the circle, especially later on in the season.
Well, and this conversation by John Rittman in the circle is not meant to tell his infield defense anything that they don't know. This is actually, I think, just buying time for Cintron to get ready in the pen, give her a couple more throws, see how quickly she can get ready in case Basinger does get into a situation where she needs help.
Vanessa Quiroga, the DP tonight, out on a comebacker to Basinger in her only other at bat. Basinger, the pitcher of the year in the league, in the ACC. Wants to be a surgeon someday. Excellent student athlete, has already taken the MCATs.
I'm always impressed by the smart athletes because I was an athlete student.
There was no doubt that that was the order in which those words should go with you.
It's true.
0-2 off the plate, and you saw Vieira pop up just in case Good decided to do something. They have not had a stolen base attempt yet. Good is just 3 for 4 on the season. Another single, back-to-back singles with 2 outs. Brockenbrough charged quickly to hold Good at second.
If Texas had had a runner with a little bit more speed, I think they would have challenged Brockenbrough out there in center. But you mentioned it earlier, Not a lot of speed on the base pass, so she'll just stop herself 60 feet.
And I think you're right, Jenny. There was hoping, or Coach Rittman hoping they could get through the bottom of the order, which has not been producing for Texas. If they decide to go ahead and make the pitching change to let Basinger close out this inning.
Well, Cintron has not thrown in quite some time, and because of that, it's hard to scout against a pitcher who's not been in the everyday rotation. With that, they're trying to hide her as long as possible and try to get out of this inning at the bottom of the lineup.
Chance for more, and she tags out Quiroga to end it, but Reese Atwood, who sent one almost to the moon the first time it was foul, this one was fair and a line drive.
Yeah, you just need to get it over the wall by inches. Able to do so. 21st home run of the year puts Texas up on top, 3-2.
Game 2, they've seen both Reese and Brooke. That combination has worked great for us. I just love the way we're competing. We keep battling, and Reese pitched her butt off right there. You know, she's doing a good job against an explosive offense. So we couldn't ask more of Reese, and we got everybody ready to go tonight.
Perfect. And with that Game 1 win under your belt, what was the conversation with this team coming into tonight?
It's a mature group. I mean, our leadership, you know, they know that, you know, you got to get Game 2, you know, and whether that's today or tomorrow, the biggest thing is they focus on one pitch, one inning at a time, and they go out and compete their butts off. And that's what you're seeing right here. They're playing with a lot of heart. We know Texas is a good program. We got to bring our A game to beat them. And I think you're seeing that tonight. Two really good teams going at it.
Yeah, it's a great competition. Thank you so much, Coach Rittman.
All right, thank you.
All right, so John Rittman trying to get his team one more win to get to the Women's College World Series for the first time. And as we were speaking with Coach Rittman, Brooke McCubbin went down to the bullpen to warm up.
Yep, and we expect to see all hands on deck. I don't know that McCubbin is going to be the one coming in with Cintron warming first. I think he might go with Cintron, knowing that if he has to play tomorrow, McCubbin will be key to that Game 3. So keeping her out of the circle tonight would probably be very important.
Vieira right through the middle. One pitch, and Abby's got her second single of the night off Salmon.
Well, and attacking early, not letting the at-bat get away from her. Good job just hitting that pitch right back where it came from to start the inning off with a base runner for Clemson.
Might see a pinch runner come in for Vieira as John Rittman heads to the plate.
And Coach Rittman talked about how this was the first year that Abby Vieira was able to start the season healthy, and it has shown that this year she's been more dynamic and powerful at the plate and able to have longevity, not getting injured in the season, and was able to stay around campus over the summer to train and not rehab, which she'd had to do the previous 3 summers.
Pinch runner Kennedy Ariel comes in to run for Vieira over at first. Now here's Collins, grounded out to second. Her first time up in the infield, playing in again against Collins.
And obviously, Coach White, much smarter than I am. They're looking at the spray chart of Collins, but when I look at the spray chart of Collins, I'm not getting in her grill, especially over there at third base. She is able to take that ball oppo. She's got a ton of power, and off the bat, you don't have a lot of time to react when you're that close. Smart choice to lay off of that changeup. It was an 0-1 count. Yes, it does take the count to 0-2, but when you're not on time with that changeup, you're just going to get a little nubber, probably going to get out. So a good hold by Collins.
Collins lets that go by. All freshman performer from Marietta, Georgia, who originally committed to Charlotte. And then there was a pitching change and made the switch over to Clemson as that floats high. So she was a late recruit and different circumstances, but Clemson also, like Texas, was searching for a starting shortstop this year, and Collins fit the bill.
And Collins has been a fun infusion of fun, talent, and attitude for this squad.
Foul ball.
That's the word that Coach Rittman used over and over again when we talked to him, Pam, is that this team is fun, and finding that quality in a team. I don't know that he's had that for Clemson in years past. It's been very serious as they've tried to build the program into national prominence. They've done so, but this year it just feels a little bit more relaxed and confident.
Collins was down 0-2. Now the count goes full. It's the second time that Salmon has gotten to a 3-ball count with the Tiger batter tonight. And she lost her.
Yeah, get your hotel room now.
Jay Gilgeous-Alexander, only the second Canadian to be named MVP of the NBA. Steve Nash did it back-to-back years, back in the aughts.
Well, these two teams would really like to be in Oklahoma City June 5th.
One of them will be there for sure.
Well, I don't know if they'll be there June 5th. That's during the Champ Series.
That's true, but at least they'll... We won't be there. They'll be there. All right, Jen, we got a walk after Collins fell behind 0-2. So the pinch runner Ariel's over at first. Here's Pipkins, or Ariel now at second with Collins at first. Pipkins flew out her first time against Salmon, the freshman. Rather surprise starter for Mike White.
Well, that walk to Collins, the first one given up by Salmon tonight. I like that location, trying to jam up Pipkins at the plate.
Gutierrez and Simpson are now warming in the Texas pen. We saw Gutierrez yesterday come in to relieve Tegan Cavan.
Well, it's all hands on deck. I mean, tomorrow there's not going to be another game if Clemson wins this one. So Texas might as well just unload in the circle and get this win tonight. It's all hands on deck.
It's like the 7th game of the World Series, right? You just kind of empty the bucket, especially if you're Texas, because you lose tonight and you're not playing softball for many more months.
Well, and they're healthy enough to come back tomorrow and all of them be ready again. This is a Primes team. They're pretty deep in the pitching circle. It's the defense where they have not been able to find a lot of good, deep replacements defensively.
Pipkins, and that's grabbed beautifully by Good, who got the start at short tonight.
And in talking with Coach White, he said Leanne Good is our best shortstop, but they recognized that when they moved her to short, they gave up some quality at second base, and so moving Stewart to shortstop was their Band-Aid fix with Vivian Gutierrez going down. But tonight, or Viviana Martinez went down. So with Good at short, you're seeing a different kind of confidence over there on the left side of the field.
And a good job by the pinch runner Ariel for not straying too far off of second, because that looked like that ball was destined for center field.
Yeah, solid base running. That's what keeps you in ball games. And this time of year, you cannot make those base running hiccups and expect to win.
Johnson struck out on a rise by Salmon, and her first at bat's the only strikeout for Salmon in this game. Johnson did have a hit yesterday. Struggled a bit in the regional where she struck out 5 times in 3 games.
And Johnson leads the team in strikeouts. Early in the season, she struggled at the plate, and so coach took her out of the lineup. Coach Rittman saw a chance to try to find a hotter bat, but then earned her way back into the lineup, has all the tools, but is still learning those lessons at the plate in her sophomore year on how to be mature on the strike zone.
Change up again.
As a hitter, you're trying to find a way to tip that pitch, but I like the follow through of Salmon on that one. What I would be looking for as a hitter is the back of the hand coming through. That would tip me off to stay back and in my legs to time up that changeup.
Little check swing on a 2-2 count for Johnson. And you mentioned her strikeouts with the one tonight. She's got 42 strikeouts, the most on the team. So 42 strikeouts and only 25 hits for Johnson this season.
She's been really good out there and left, but just the discipline at the plate has struggled this season.
Inside, nope, an inside strike. Johnson goes down for the second time via the K.
Both strikeouts on the night for Salmon coming at this spot in the lineup. She was begging to get hit with that pitch. Didn't even get the bat off the shoulder. Beautiful spot for Salmon.
First 2 on, and now it's up to Brockenbrough with 2 away. Rounded out to third in her first at bat. Now Atwood goes out to chat with her freshman pitcher. Elise Atwood, first team All-SEC. Again, was an All-American last year, the Big 12 Player of the Year. And earlier today, she hit home run number 21 on the season, at 23 last year, which was a Texas record, so she's chasing herself.
She's so good on both sides of the ball. A leader behind the plate, swings such a good stick, and just a junior.
Well, this would be awesome for Texas if they could get out of this after the first 2 runners got on for Clemson, trying to get a shutdown inning after Atwood's home run in the top of the 4th gave them the lead back. And that gets through. Runner being waved home. Ariel scores. And Jamison Brockenbrough comes through.
We were told that Jamison Brockenbrough is most comfortable actually sitting on a tractor and mowing grass, but she is showing up big time here in the postseason. That's not an error by either the third baseman or the shortstop for Texas. That ball just had eyes to see its way to the grass. Brockenbrough fired up, because now we're all tied up.
Texas now tied up 3-3. Ava Wilson comes in to run for Collins over at second. And we are going to have a pitching change. Salmon, the true freshman, again coming in. Just 7 starts on the season before tonight. She's going to get a good hand and deserves it up against this Clemson team. Sophia Simpson coming in for the Horns now in a tie ball game. We'll have more on her. 2 on, 2 out for the Tigers when we come back.
The combo meal changed the game at BK.
With so many options, I play my way.
Fries are my say, no compromise.
Winning big time, cause it's free to swap fries.
How are you there?
I'm good, Eric.
Looking up your prescription?
Yes.
It matters when you're looking for savings. Looks like we can save you money. There you go. Thanks so much, Eric. I really appreciate you.
Where you get your medicine matters.
So a pitching change here in Texas, now in a tie ball game. And we go from the freshman Salmon to the senior Simpson.
Well, and the change in the circle, I think, comes to the fact that Simpson loves to throw the off-speed pitch. She had limited opportunities this season, no outing longer than 1 1/3. So this is just going to be maybe one time through the lineup for Simpson, trying to get out of this inning with any more damage being done on the scoreboard.
So the freshman Cambria Salmon getting the start, 3 2/3 innings, giving up the 3 runs, and she is responsible for the 2 base runners out there as Alex Brown in the top of the lineup comes up for Clemson.
The biggest difference between the 2 pitchers that Alex Brown is going to see tonight is now slower velocity. So as a hitter, you have to stay in your legs a little bit longer. I would move to the front of the box to try to attack earlier, knowing the velocity is down.
That gets by Atwood. Both runners move up 60 feet.
So hard when a pitching change is made in the circle. You've got to be able to make an adjustment quickly back there behind the plate. A lot less velocity means the ball's going to dance a little bit more when it hits the ground, and Atwood, that one went right through the wickets.
A wild pitch and a 2-0 count. Now it's 3-0. And Maddie Moore waits on deck. She had a 2-run home run in her last at bat. And if she comes up, that means potential trouble for Texas in a game they have to win to keep their season alive. And that's a 4-pitch walk. Bases are loaded for Moore.
Never want to put a runner on with a free pass. And at the top of this lineup, you're looking at power. Maddie Moore in her last at bat came up with Alex Brown on second base, and she blasted a moonshot. Little bat flip, tied up the game. Maddie Moore in her senior season is leading this team with a ton of confidence.
And that home run was Maddie's 200th career hit. And that tied the game up at 2 apiece. Reese Atwood with the home run for Texas in the top of this inning, put Texas back on top for the 2nd time, and now Clemson has tied it. And a very important conversation as Mike White comes out to talk to his battery.
Well, Sophia Simpson had only faced 25 batters before coming into tonight. So there's a lot of emotion going on out there in the circle. Yes, she knows how to pitch well. Yes, she's put in her hours in the bullpen and in the weight room and in training. But having this experience, it's hard to replicate that in practice. And so being able to produce quality strikes with bases loaded in a super regional that you have to win, there's a lot riding on the shoulders of Simpson at this moment.
She has thrown 5 pitches, all of them balls, since coming in to relieve Salmon. Moore takes a strike.
She agrees with it. She's shaking her head, yes. Moore is not the batter that Texas wants at the plate right now. She is 5 for 8 on the season with bases loaded opportunities.
Atwood able to keep it in front of her.
So important to block this ball up, and I want to see Atwood actually come through and just keep that in front by turning the glove the other way. With the backhand there, she opened up a chance for that ball to squibble away.
Pinch hitter Wilson, or pinch runner, pardon me, Wilson over at third. It's upstairs.
we've seen Maddie Moore in situations like this swing too big and not be disciplined at the plate. So letting that rise ball go shows that Maddie feeling pretty comfortable in the box right now.
Now she gets a 3-1 pitch. Another ball that skipped in, and Simpson walks in a run.
So much pressure in the circle right now. I mean, but you have to be disciplined at the plate. That was not a deceivable ball. I mean, out of the hand, that was completely low, and when it comes in that low, it doesn't even raise your heart rate as a hitter.
And Simpson faced 2 batters, walked them both, and she is being lifted. And we have our 3rd Texas pitcher of the inning. It's Citlali Gutierrez, who we saw yesterday in relief. Comes up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Clemson up by 1. Texas trying to get out of this inning. Mike White making his 2nd pitching change of the inning with Gutierrez.
Well, Gutierrez came in a tough spot last night. Came in, pitched 2 innings of relief, gave up just 1 earned run. She's going to need to show up quickly in this situation with bases juiced.
The back-to-back walks given up by Simpson. The last one forced in a run. And here's Julia Noller. She had a 2-run double against Gutierrez last night.
And with Citlali in the circle, upper 60s when throwing her velocity, but has an off-speed drop, an off-speed curve, and an off-speed rise. The drop is her pitch with good velocity, and it tunnels well with her slow stuff, but right now just needs to challenge these hitters to put the ball in play and trust her defense.
2 runs in for Clemson in this inning.
This pitch right on the corner. Really good spot.
Perfect. 2-2 pitch. They're on their feet. Noller just held back.
So much discipline at the plate, and Noller in her sophomore season.
Full count, bases loaded, 2 away. Noller with a short pop-up into right field, grabbed by Bennett, but Clemson comes from behind again to take the lead.
Clemson back against the wall. They want to play and get to their first Women's College World Series. John Rittman probably thinks he's funny, warming up Cintron over there, trying to trick us, Pam, but we knew Brooke McCubbin would probably be the reliever. It's been their pattern ever since the postseason began at the ACC Championship.
And she faces the top of the order here in the 5th inning, and Ashton Maloney, who got a single off of Basinger in this game. McCubbin pitched the last 3 innings of last night's game. That is lifted towards Johnson for the first out of the 5th inning.
I've been so impressed with the way that Brooke McCubbin has taken the circle. Maybe the most impressive outing she had was in the rain against Virginia Tech. Came in, shut the game down. Clemson fought a 7-run deficit to come away with the win in the semifinals and push them to the final game where they won the ACC championship for the first time in program history.
All 3 of those victories come from behind. They have come from behind tonight, did so yesterday in the Game 1 win. Here's Caden Henry.
We talk about those comeback wins, Pam. They've had 23 comeback wins on the year. Clemson knows how to play from behind. They don't panic. They just continue to grind at the plate and play solid defense behind their circle.
Last night had a 2-run single off of McCubbin. And a 7-4 Clemson win. Again, Clemson wins tonight. They'll pack their bags and go to Oklahoma City. Texas wins. We'll be back here tomorrow night for the decisive Game 3. John Ridman, who had so much success at Stanford, trying to take this franchise to its first series.
And he started the program at Clemson, but he got that blueprint when he was an assistant coach at Washington when they started up their softball program back in the 90s.
Full count, lifted into short center, but Brockenbrough runs well, reads it, grabs it. Let's get to Matt Schick. Thank you very much. Liberty, who took out the #1 overall seed, Texas A&M Aggies. First time a #1 has fallen in the regional round since we started this new format with Supers back in '05. And they are out west in Eugene.
We talked last night about what we would need to have, and we called it second dessert. I'm ready for that ice cream to come up to the booth, right?
Get out of here and go watch some softball. Mia Scott fouls it right back.
I almost got to protect you,
just
Pam.
A few feet short of Jenny being a hero.
Of Kat Osterman Booth.
Osterman would have caught it.
Oh, wow. She had longer arms.
She's way tall. So for Clemson, they have literally used only 2 pitchers, and here they are, and in this order. Basinger starts, McCubbin finishes, and McCubbin with more wins and just about 6 fewer innings, even though she has come in to relieve Basinger, and it's been a 1-2 combination that's worked beautifully. They're unbeaten.
Well, it really fits the narrative of the comeback wins that Clemson is kind of known for now this time of the year. They fight all the way through, even with that deficit at the end of the game. McCubbin comes in, solid performances, and then the bats come alive and support her in the circle.
Tied for most in Division I with the 23 comeback wins, and a lot of pacing in that dugout. And McCubbin, you mentioned it, so brilliant in the rain in the semifinal win against Virginia Tech. They were down 6 going into the bottom of the 6th inning and won it. Scott on a full count pitch draws the walk with 2 away.
Well, the hard part about that, yes, Mia Scott is one of the most dangerous hitters in the lineup for Texas, but now you give way to Atwood, who hit a home run in her last at bat. It came off of Basinger, but that's another hot bat that you have to be careful of, knowing that once you get past Atwood, the bottom of the lineup has been very quiet. So I would not pitch Atwood competitively. I would keep this ball off the plate, see if I could get her to chase, and be okay with a walk, knowing that the bottom of the lineup just has not been able to produce consistently for Texas.
Atwood is such a threat. Did not have a hit last night, but a home run. That's in the hole, and Collins decided to make the throw. There's a freshman mistake for you.
And took her eye off of her throw. She knew it was going to have to take a really strong throw across the diamond. And in doing that, threw the ball into the dugout. What that does is it gives the advantage to the offense with that ball going into a dead ball territory. Every base runner advances a base. So Texas now sits at 2nd and 3rd. Instead of being over there at 1st and 2nd.
Boy, I thought Collins, when she turned like that, was just going to eat it, but instead she, as you said, without even looking at first, threw it. and it was nowhere close.
And she didn't get her shoulders opened up to make the throw. By turning towards third base, she left her shoulders closed, which took that ball so far inside first base. There was nothing that Julia Noller could do but watch it go into the dugout.
The call on the field that the runner from first base is on time. There's a challenge from Clemson that the runner left early from first. This play is under review.
All right, so Clemson is having the umpires review to see if Mia Scott left first base early.
Well, Mia Scott is not your typical base stealer. She's 4 for 4 on the year. We've
been so close.
I'm glad that's not my job. The throw is not in question. It went in the dugout. Base runners advanced because it went into dead ball territory. But did Mia Scott just kind of nonchalantly come off the bag prematurely? That's under review.
And so an infield single, and rightly so, credited to Reese Atwood. And then the throwing error enabling Atwood to take second and Scott to take third, but did Mia leave early?
Well, and the crazy thing is she was not even trying to advance on a stolen base attempt. It was just maybe just not paying attention to details over there at first base and playing it a little too loose. Yeah, she's off the bag, Pam. It's close, but when you're not stealing, there's no need to even make it that close, especially with Atwood at the plate.
So the folks in Pittsburgh looking this over. Has to be enough evidence to overturn the call on the field, which was that she did not leave early. No one caught it. And this, you're right, Jen, this is huge. You're talking about, runners on second and third. You have Mitchell coming up, who had some productive at-bats last night with a double. Each coach gets 2 challenges.
This one decision changes the focus and momentum of this ball game.
After review, the call on the field is upheld. Save at second. 2 outs, second and third. Clemson's first challenge.
So grateful for replay review that does give us a chance to go back and get calls right. The call upheld and the ball going into the dugout moves the runners, now both of them into scoring position.
2 away for Mitchell. Second year at Texas after starting her career at Notre Dame. Played against Texas when she was at Notre Dame and Florida, Clearwater, and said Texas lost to Notre Dame, and she remembered thinking, how did we beat them? They're so good. And she wanted to play at Texas and has closed out her career here. And now she's up in a big-time spot.
When the defense had been pulled in, now with 2 strikes, they do take an additional step back.
Atwood at second, Scott at third.
When your job as a hitter right now is put this ball in play. Do not go down with a strikeout. Do not go down looking. Make sure that you give a competitive look at the plate. Punch this ball through the infield.
Mitchell sends it to the wall. 2 runs come around. Jolie Mitchell on a 1-2 count with a 2-run double, and Texas leads again.
Jolie Mitchell was such a good player at Notre Dame, but wanted a bigger experience, and so after graduation, had 2 years of eligibility, coming over here to Austin, playing for Texas, and in the biggest at bat, perhaps, of her career, she comes away with a huge hit, almost leaving the yard. Ball off the wall, Texas on top.
That 10-foot wall out there. It's Jolie's second double of the weekend. First one came off Basinger yesterday. And Katie Stewart can pad the lead.
And that throw by the shortstop, Collins, now comes back to haunt her. If she just holds on to the ball, it would simply be runners at first and second. They'd maybe plate 1 run. But off the wall, it rebounds off of Johnson, which doesn't give the kick back to Brockenbrough, who was ready behind her to back her up and throw that ball in. But if Collins had held onto that ball at shortstop, don't even try to make a throw. Don't try to be the hero. Hold on to it. Maybe only 1 run comes around to score. That's a lesson that the freshman will take with her through the rest of her career. That was something that she needs to learn from and not do again.
Big cut for Stewart on a 1-2 pitch. She is struck out, but what an inning. Jolie Mitchell coming through, barely missing a home run, but gets the 2-run double. AC Cintron leading things off. Texas 5 runs on 7 hits tonight. Clemson 4 runs on 6 hits in an error. Back and forth, lead changes. Good stuff in Texas. As we hit the bottom of the 5th, Texas with its 3rd pitcher of the game in Gutierrez, who actually was the 3rd pitcher that we saw in the previous inning. But Gutierrez came in and got Noller to pop out to leave the bases loaded.
Well, I anticipated Citlali Gutierrez was going to be our reliever after Salmon in the circle, but he went to Simpson, who gave up 2 back-to-back walks, and with that, had to make another pitching change as Simpson struggled to just find the zone.
And that one is taken for a ride, and Clemson ties it up with another home run. Cintron leading off the 5th.
The demeanor of Cintron in the box is one that I love in a freshman. She is so competitive. Plays for the Puerto Rican national team, and that's why. The kind of bat that she swings has a ton of power. That ball on the outside part of the plate, ton of backspin. Got behind it, used her legs, drove it out of the yard. 14th home run of the year for Cintron.
Cintron was the ACC Freshman of the Year. Up the middle, nice play at short by Good to get Vieira, who went after the first pitch.
Not trying to take anything away from Katie Stewart last night at shortstop, but this is the change that Texas needed at the number 6 spot. Knowing that shortstop was getting a ton of action last night. Look at that arm slot. Beautiful spot as her momentum took her into right field, lowered the arm slot, nice throw across the diamond.
It's the defensive shakeup by Coach Mike White paying off. Marion Collins singled in her last at bat and made the unfortunate throwing error. Unfortunate for Clemson in the top of this inning. But the freshmen have been something that Coach John Rittman has been talking about all year. They had so many gaps to fill from that senior class from last year, and they have produced brilliantly.
Well, they've had to reset with young talent. It's the departures of Cagle, Logaleo, Millie Thompson, Mackenzie Clark. I mean, so many big names leaving the program. They had a 3-6 start to the beginning of the year. Since then, 45-6.
In 5 of those games, Addie Moore did not play out for personal reasons, and coach said that's when Basinger took some of her losses in the circle, and he stayed calm. And Moore came back, and since then, they've only lost 6 games all year after losing 6 of their first 9, only 6 since.
And it was Clearwater where it gave me a moment of pause in watching their games in Clearwater. They went 1-4, lost to Mizzou, Auburn, Kentucky, and UCF. Only able to pull out a win against Ohio State. But since that time, went on a 15-game win streak.
And how about almost back-to-back jacks off the top of the wall? Collins with the long double. It would be back-to-back, be back, infield, and then another jack. So.
Back and back?
Yeah, back and back. Not back to back. Thank you, Jen.
But, I mean, that ball, maybe a foot away from being a home run for Collins. More freshman production. And when you come to the plate after creating an error in the field, I think you come in a little bit more focused in your at-bat. Collins in that one, trying to make up for the throwing error that gave Texas the advantage in the top half of the inning.
15th double of the year for Collins. Clemson this year setting records in a lot of offensive categories, including home runs. We've seen them leave the park tonight, and doubles. And now Tegan Cavan, who started last night and took the loss, warming up on the right. And also over there on the left, that is Mac Morgan. Again, emptying the bucket. This is for Texas. They lose, their season comes to a close. This is the bottom of the lineup coming up, but Taylor Pipkins is very dangerous, a very dangerous number 7 hitter. Lined out just on a nice defensive play by Good at shortstop in her last time up. Pipkins hitting almost 70 points higher in the postseason than she did in the regular season, and had a great ACC tournament. Was the MVP of that championship when they won their first title. And Mike White is coming out with another hook. And here comes Cavan. The ace for Texas coming in to try to shut down the Tigers. What a game this has been. Home runs, lead changes, drama, and now Cavan's coming in.
The ace in the circle going to try to shut down Clemson. We're all knotted up at 5. The emotions running high as we look for the next participant at the Women's College World Series.